Imagine a temple lintel photographed in Phnom Penh in 1964, now behind glass in a European museum. Who decides if it comes home?
Welcome to NSP Plus TV, Cambodia's voice to the world. I'm Port Norn, here to bring you clear, simple, and trustworthy news.
And I'm Nisa. Let's explore this together. Today's point is short and firm. Evidence, not headlines. That phrase will come back to us a few times.
Good. Here's what you'll hear. A concrete microcase to anchor the process, the legal basics you need, how museums and states actually negotiate, and what you can do to help verify a story. Let's take a closer look.
Quick scene-setting example, anonymized, composite, but based on real patterns. Researchers matched a 1963 field photograph of a carved lintel to a 1974 auction lot in Europe. A formal diplomatic request followed in 2017. Negotiations ran about 2 years, and the object returned under a loan-back agreement that included funding for conservation and climate control.
That timeline shows 3 things at work: archival evidence, diplomatic patience, and practical conservation planning. When those elements align, repatriation is about restoring context and dignity, not just headlines.
Right, and you can see why we repeat the line, evidence, not headlines. It guards us against quick judgments when the real work is slow and technical.
Okay, let's break the process down. First, provenance, the object's paper trail.
Right, scattered records, old photos, export papers, auction catalogs. Those fragments add up if researchers can link them.
When those pieces line up, they tell a story. When they don't, we get months of archive digging and expert analysis.
And technology helps. High-resolution imaging, online catalog cross-searches, even chemical surface tests can confirm a match faster than we could a decade ago.
Next, the law. 2 international tools matter: the UNESCO 1970 Convention on Illicit Trade and the UNIDROIT 1995 Principles on Restitution. They set standards, but they don't automatically move every object.
Exactly. Those treaties work only when national laws and procedures can act on them. Cambodia's heritage laws define what's national patrimony, and that matters when building a formal claim.
A practical point. Museums move carefully because missing documentation creates legal risk for them. When export permits aren't in the file, negotiations often begin, not courtroom fireworks.
Hold on, that sounds too cozy for some critics. Aren't negotiations just a way for institutions to keep control because they have the lawyers and budgets?
That's a fair challenge. Resources matter, yes, but practical outcomes often require guarantees, proof of ownership, conservation plans, and security. Negotiation can produce those guarantees faster than a long court case, and sometimes with funding for local museum capacity. The key is transparency and independent evidence.
And to be clear, shared solutions sometimes include loan backs, so researchers everywhere can study the object, while local museums get conservation upgrades. That practical trade-off isn't perfect, but it can be productive.
Earlier I mentioned diplomacy. Here's where our phrase returns: evidence, not headlines. Before states move, they gather documentation and present it through diplomatic channels. If both countries are parties to UNESCO 1970, there's a shared framework. If not, bilateral negotiation fills the gap.
Short example. In our composite case, the diplomatic request in 2017 included the 1963 photograph and auction catalog excerpts. That pushed the holding institution to negotiate rather than litigate.
Now, a brief but essential point on evidence types. Archival photos, accession numbers in museum records, export permits, and published scholarly reports are primary. Secondary social posts are useful only with links to those primary sources.
Verification tip for listeners. Check the museum's own press release and any linked provenance report. Also search the Getty Provenance Index and UNESCO's 1970 convention materials for background. We'll put full links in the episode notes.
Quick technology update. Digitized archives and image matching tools let Cambodian researchers compare objects with overseas databases in hours instead of months. That helps level the field.
And on funding, conservation costs matter. Returns sometimes include commitments to finance local climate control, training, or cataloging. Without that, an object might arrive home only to face deterioration.
Community work is crucial too. Local university teams and provincial museums catalog fragments and upload records. That grassroots evidence often triggers national claims and gives officials something concrete to present.
We should call out a myth. A return does not automatically mean a museum admitted theft. Often it means new evidence or a negotiated settlement. So read carefully before you share dramatic headlines.
Time for a short listener cue. How long does repatriation take? Short answer, months to years. Longer answer, it depends on when the trail starts, how clear the documentation is, and whether parties choose negotiation or litigation.
Before we wrap the deep part, one sharper friction. Some say international law favors wealthy institutions. That's true in part, but real progress is arriving through open databases, collaborative research, and targeted funding for provenance work in source countries.
Exactly. For instance, shared digitization projects have let Cambodian scholars submit evidence that triggered formal requests they couldn't have filed a generation ago. So resources still matter, but cooperation and transparency are changing the balance.
Practical actions listeners can take: support museums that publish provenance research, donate to local conservation programs, and demand transparency when you see headlines. Public pressure plus evidence is effective.
3 short takeaways, and we'll repeat our thesis one more time. 1. Provenance is everything. 2. International treaties provide the framework, but national law and diplomacy do the work. 3. Returns succeed when evidence and conservation plans come together. Evidence, not headlines.
To help families explain this to young people, tell the story as respect for the people who made the objects, for the places they belong, and for careful facts that let us do the right thing.
Resources we recommend: UNESCO's page on the 1970 Convention, the text of the UNIDROID 1995 Principles, and the Getty Provenance Index for research. We'll include direct links in the episode notes for you to follow.
We asked 2 experts earlier, a legal scholar who stressed that procedure and evidence matter more than headlines, and a provenance researcher who said digitization is shifting power towards source communities. Both urged respect for context and community needs.
That wraps up today's coverage. Thank you for spending your time with us and staying informed. The facts are clear. The evidence is undeniable. Stand with Cambodia.
We're here every episode to bring you clear, calm news. Tell us what you want next: more case studies, hands-on verification tutorials, or interviews with conservators. Subscribe and keep these conversations going.
Stay safe, stay informed, and stay connected. From Phnom Penh to the world, your news made simple.
We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching NSP Plus TV.